What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Xbox at the Game Awards. So they actually said on Twitter yesterday morning a little message, and I can see how you can read it a couple different ways. I will try to look at it both ways, okay? And ultimately, I do think Xbox is going to have a rather okay presence at the Game Awards. Now, I do not think it's going to be the most massive of all time. As we've constantly talked about on all of my channels, Jeff really tries to make the Game Awards even. In fact, he said that out loud in interviews before. He doesn't want it to be a PlayStation show. He doesn't want it to be an Xbox show, etc. Now, again, like, will there be things that happen? Yeah. And have there been big things that have happened for Xbox? Yeah, actually, the Series X was one of them. I believe Hellblade 2 as well, and Hellblade 2, I think, has appeared there a few different times. So they're no strangers to making, like, big splashes, but you're not going to get, I guess this is why I want to say this early, you're not going to get, like, a literal Xbox event or an Xbox show at the Game Awards. But they basically, in this Twitter post, they talk about how, joining us live, like, make sure you watch the Game Awards. And after that, after they say the date and time, they talk about how it's going to be important for, like, basically the Xbox ecosystem, right? For like announcements and reveals going forward. Now, the way I read that, honestly, and again, like, I can see how you can read it both ways. I feel like it's just a general thing, as in when the next Mass Effect game, and that's literally what it's called, right? So when Mass Effect got announced a few years ago, that game comes out eventually on Xbox, right? So, like, that's going on the Xbox ecosystem. When a big game like an Alan Wake 2 or Wolf Among Us, like, I'm trying to think of past years, the past few years, the big games that have been revealed at the Game Awards. Judas, right, from Ken Levine. These are games that are not Xbox exclusive, but they still affect the Xbox ecosystem in some way, right? Because they come out on it. And basically, I guess what I'm hinting at here is PlayStation could honestly do a very similar tweet or a post or a message or whatever, right? Saying almost the exact same thing. And again, now you can read it as, hey, there's going to be Xbox specific announcements you're going to want to, keep an eye on. And I think that's going to happen. I do think there will be Xbox specific things. But I also think what this message is saying is not just that, but kind of just again, like a generality, like, hey, watch the show. There's going to be a lot of stuff there, and a lot of that stuff is going to end up on Xbox, so it's going to be important to watch the show, right? Like, just reversing the order. Now, like, will they be at the Game Awards? Yeah, I think I've said it for a while. I think Hellblade 2, this is probably the time to give a date. And maybe not even necessarily Hellblade 2, whatever the next Xbox exclusive is. So in my head, the order is Hellblade 2 and then Avowed, and then maybe like a Stalker 2, or maybe State of Decay 3 is like third or fourth on that list. But I think it's either Hellblade or Avowed, and I really do think it's Hellblade that comes next for Xbox, right? And why do I say that? Well, I think that game could release, let's say, before June of 2024. And if a game that's a big Xbox exclusive, even though, like, Hellblade is kind of smaller still, I mean, it definitely looks like it's got the budget of a bigger game, and again, like, we've seen it a couple different times, and I think it's going to be an outrageously good game. It is a smaller-ish thing, all things considered, but it is the next big Xbox thing, okay? And if it is, I think it stands a really good shot at being at the Game Awards to get another reveal, as we've already kind of gotten of this game, and then an actual release date, right? An official date. So that's kind of what I think. Now, you could get new stuff. I think there's been some rumors, but I think it's actually just more speculation, and people are turning it into rumors. Like Gears, maybe like Gears of War 6. It's possible. Like, I'm not saying Hellblade's the only thing. They could absolutely do Hellblade and then say maybe one other thing. I mean, if you did like a Hellblade Avowed, like back-to-back thing, that would be cool. I don't know if you would do something like Fable, right? Because we kind of just saw it, and I don't know if they'd be ready to show anything massively more, and that's kind of where you're at with that game. Next time you see Fable has to be something really, really big. So maybe it is a tease for something kind of further out. Maybe this is where you do like a James Bond thing, or this is where you do something like a Gears of War 6, right? You could do a brand new game announcement, could be something like Game Pass, some kind of really big thing, maybe a huge game that comes out early next year that comes out on Game Pass. Obviously, there's a few different ways of going at it, but I do think Hellblade is, not a lock, okay? I wouldn't go so far as to say that. I think Hellblade makes absolutely the most sense to appear here, and from the Xbox ecosystem. And then again, the other way of reading that message is just, hey, the show's going to be big regardless. And that's true, like, regardless of your stance on a console. And you know my thoughts on all that stuff anyway. But regardless of your stance, it's a great night for gaming because there's just going to be a lot of game announcements, and they're going to make their way to most of the consoles. You know, maybe some will be exclusive. Most will not be exclusive, right? That's just how it goes. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think is going to be shown at the Game Awards this year, Xbox or otherwise? Let me know. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.